Yo yo, what's up fellow Bang Dreamers, Maverick here with the finale of Bang Dream. So, as the season is coming to an end, well, there's not really that much else to say, right? We are expecting all three of the bands to be playing at Budokan, debuting their new songs as well, I presume, and hopefully even some other songs as well, since, well, it is still a 20+ minute episode, and they only play short versions of their songs anyways. So, 2 songs for each band? Is that a little bit too much to ask? Maybe it is, considering that we also have the ending song, right? That was also kind of spoiled in the last episode, where pretty much, they are going to be all coming together and singing and playing Yume Uchi at the very end, right fittingly as it is the ending song, and it will also conclude this season. So yeah, I got my Poppin' Party King Blade ready, and well, let's just get the show on the road. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. これこそが大ガルスバンド時代 Season 1 You've come so far. Still do. Me too. Oh. Oh, free stops away? Huh. I mean, I know where Arisa's house is in real life. The model that they were using. Is that 3 stops away? Okay. I'm going ahead. I also think it's pretty much impossible to actually hold alive at Budokan with so little staff. Just the lighting and the sounds and acoustics and whatnot. They definitely need a lot more people than just 3. Well, I guess if all the all the participating live bands put their staff together, I think that might work. True. Hmm. What's inside is mine. Honestly, Budokan is like the goal for all bands in Japan. The landmarks. That's a basically a landmark. It's because they are circling around, right? So they need the landmarks, so different places that they can see to be sure like where exactly they are right now. Otherwise, it's very easy to lose control of where you are. Another big important thing, why you would need to actually do that is because you need to look at the cameras. This is the exact same as the 7th Life. Wait, already? Alright, wasting no time, I see. And it, they're gonna pop out. Now it's the end. No, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. Of course we can. Oh. Ha! Ha! Woo! Hmm. I feel like there are some colors that aren't quite Puffin Party colors in there, but eh. Light Train. Alright, sorry, I can't play the song. First time listening to this. Hmm. Interesting. They actually don't have many songs like this. Woo! Aw, that's it? Oh, what's this one? Okay, I think this one works. I'm gonna assume that they all played at least five songs. Masking! Razor Sweden. Huh. Well, they actually played Beautiful Birthday? Alright. Dun, 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 dun. Hmm? I just saw Locke dancing as usual. Mm. Alright. They are... I guess I can use purple. Don't really have purple. Well, we can use blue. Oh? Of course. Woo! Avant-garde history? Okay, whatever you say. Do I actually have... Yeah, I guess this is the closest I can get. Ooh, nice. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, they actually do, they actually still vote? Mm. Morphonica? Hmm? Whoa! Owner! Okay. She must have never thought that, you know. Oh. These girls who are just playing in her small live house actually got to Budokan. Right. Oh, still. As expected. And some Yukilina as well. Oh, so it's one of those things? Of course they're gonna go for this kind of angle. Alright, one last song. Shungani. Oh. Nice! They actually got the harmonies on this one. Okay. La la. La la la. Ooh, it's actually. Oh man, I wonder if they're going to release this as a special version. Ishonin. Say now. Yes, BanG. La 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 la. No. Okay, so they make their cameo appearances as well. Afterglow, Haspele. Hello, happy world. Glitter green as well. Chispa. Everybody else. Oh, they cut it. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. They actually change in the middle. Okay. Yume Uchi span dream. Melody. Yeah, there's no way they're not releasing this song. The free band version. Fans will be demanding it. Alright. Any Easter egg or something? Nah, alright. Just that. Thank you for watching. Alright, see you guys after this. Well, there we go, the grand finale to Bang Dream. And I did quite like the finale at the very end there, so even though it was expected that they would all sing and perform Yume Uchi, actually seeing, all 15 girls of the three bands up on there and actually all singing as well, contributing to the harmonies and whatnot, that was indeed quite nice. And I have no doubt that Bushiroad will probably release the song in that format sometime, and they nearly played the entire song as well. Not quite, no, actually, no, wait. Yume Uchi. Yeah, they didn't really play the entire song. I listen to that song quite often, so I do know. They actually took out a bit of the, after the second verse, they took out a little bit of the, well, actually, they took out completely the second pre-chorus and the second chorus, and then they went directly into a guitar solo into the bridge section, right? So probably to save time. But since they already went through the trouble of recording that much, I think it's pretty, I'd say it's a pretty safe bet to say that they will be releasing the full version of that version in a while. So we can keep our fingers crossed for that. So, let's talk a little bit about the episode first, right? And I guess where better to start than these songs. So, well, let's go in reverse and go with Roselia first. It's quite the interesting song, that one, Avant-Garde History. First of all, I really like the name. It's, the melody was really kind of hard for me. I mean, when you listen to music a lot, you can generally have an idea of where the song is supposed to go, right? There are certain expectations, in terms of songwriting and in terms of the melody and whatnot. But this song definitely, kind of caught me by surprise by a little bit. It's also not exactly that similar to all their other songs. It definitely still has the same Roselia vibe, right? Constantly fighting for the top, reaching the top, that kind of thing. Having this sort of this aura of being a grand, that kind of thing. And in terms of the style, I guess you could say it's a weird mix of Union's Road and of Heroic Advent and maybe Firebird, right? All mixed together. It definitely is an interesting mix. And the funny thing is, so by the way, all these songs I listened to numerous times on my own, not just once throughout the episode. While I was listening to Roselia's song, though, it kept on reminding me of the X, Y, and Z theme song from Pokemon X, Y, and Z. Which I guess is a good thing, since a lot of people are asking them to cover it. But yeah, it just gives me that kind of vibe, right? And also, the standout part for me was actually the guitar intro at the beginning, so that's something that they don't usually do, so I did like that they mixed it up a little bit on that part. As for the rest, the way that they appeared on stage, I do wonder if that's a reference to their 7th Live, although I haven't actually seen it, so I don't really know whether they used candles or not. I do know that they actually came out of coffins during the 7th Live, so their stage prop, their stage set actually had coffins and whatnot. But yeah, I'm guessing, even if they didn't do that in the 7th Live, you can definitely consider this very Roselia-esque, right? So good on them. The next one, Raise a Sweetland. So in the end, they went with Beautiful Birthday again. Kind of disappointed, although I guess it's understandable since they didn't really perform that with the full performance, right? Including all the light effects and their uniforms and whatnot. I just find it kind of funny because that is, after all, a birthday song for Choo Choo, and now they're singing it as one of their setlist songs. For this song, again, not really that much to say. It's, in terms of its style, it's classic Raise a Sweetland style. I mean, if you like Raise a Sweetland normal stuff, then you would like this song as well. It's got the driving beat. I love Natsume's drums, Masking's drums, as I do on every single Raise a Sweetland song as well. Her drumming is really, really good. Yeah, I mean, we've heard it before, right? So not really that much else to talk about for that one. I do feel like the using the sort of live 2D animation. Well, I guess this isn't live 2D. This is CGI. Live 2D is the game. Using this animation, I feel like it doesn't really portray the sort of craziness that Raise a Sweetland do on their own lives as well. It just feels more reserved, and their voices as well. It's too clean, let's say. So I totally understand. They're not trying to actually emulate a live environment. It's just that, I just feel like it lacks a certain oomph that they're using the studio version rather than a sort of live version of it. I mean, that is wishful thinking. It's probably way too hard. I mean, they haven't even performed this song before, but it's just something that I feel kind of cuts into the strength and the beauty of Razor Suilen a little bit by forcing them to be portrayed in this kind of animation format, right? Although, I mean, you could say the same for all three of the bands, but Razor Suilen in particular, since they do try to put on these sort of performance acts, it's even exacerbated a little bit more than the other two. And finally, we have Poppin' Party and their song. And honestly, I'm not saying this just as a Poppin' Party fan, but their song really surprised me the most out of these three songs, actually. It's in a more mature kind of tone, and honestly, thinking back to all Poppin' Party songs, there isn't really any song like this one. And what I mean by this is, well, so like again, it's a more mature kind of tone, but that's not exactly a unique. Poppin' Party have had more mature sounding kind of songs as well, but still not quite in this style, right? Typically, when they change into the mature style, they will also deliberately change the style of the song to be very unique as well. In this one, however, they're still going with more of the pop rock kind of style, except that it's being done more maturely. So the thing about Poppin' Party's music is that at its root, you can all say that it's reminiscent of a genre called anisong, right? Anime songs, regardless of whether the song is actually used in an anime or not, it has that kind of style, right? The anisong kind of style. This one, however, the Mirai Train, it sounds more like it sounds like a normal girl band, a real girl band would actually write and sing and play, right? So I could totally see this being a song being made by, say, Scandal or Silent Siren, those kinds of actual girl bands, right? So it does seem to me quite peculiar that they chose this time to transition into this kind of style. I do wonder if that's meaning that from now on their songs are going to change more and more. Although then again, I kind of doubt it, because we've also had songs in the game as well, and they definitely went back to the more classic Popipa kind of style there. And as for the song itself, so again, I was kind of surprised by the tone of the song. For the song itself, for me, I think the standout to me is still the guitars. It's actually, the guitar phrases are actually really reminiscent of Dreamers Go, the insert song from last season. And I think there's actually one verse that uses nearly the exact same sort of chords and style. But it definitely, they're both talking about the same thing, right? Dreamers Go, Mirai Train to the future. It's just, I do find it nice that they are using this sort of new style and not seen before style in their songs. So, as with all of these songs, I do hope that I can get my hands on the full version very soon. Which, it could be possible. Let me think a little bit. I think in second season, the actual songs came out like 2 or 3 months after or even half a year. I think we can expect them to be in the game, but when the full version will drop, that remains to be seen. And then, of course, we got Yume Uchi, which I already talked about at the beginning, so I'm not gonna go there. So, yeah, what about the rest of the episode, right? Pretty much went as expected. A little bit bummed, again, that they only showed one song for each band, and that was it, but I guess kind of understandable. The other thing is, I didn't really quite get why they had to put in the scene with Rimi, with Poppin' Party, her doubts and whatnot. What was the purpose of that? Especially since I don't think it was completely resolved in a good enough manner, right? I could kind of get them, right? In the end, Kasumi said that yeah, she wants to play more and more, and play with all the other bands as well. I could get that kind of message, but I don't feel like it directly addressed Rimi's fears. How exactly did she compose herself once they literally had this conversation a few seconds before they went up on stage, right? So I don't know, that whole thing felt kind of off to me. If they were going to do something like that, they needed to dedicate more time to it, perhaps even have her say it a little bit earlier, or whatnot. So, and then, my thinking of how they would actually complete that would be, for instance, Kasumi or the others saying that, hey, don't worry, this is just the beginning. We still got a long road ahead of us. They didn't go out outright and say that. Instead, they said that they want to play a lot more with the other bands, which I guess in a sense also works. Whatever, right? But I just felt like it was kind of, I don't know, it just felt kind of forced in when it wasn't really necessary to be so, right? They could have easily put it in after they played, right? Crying because she's so happy, it was so fun, but then crying because it's the end as well, and then have the sort of, no, this is just the beginning, we still want to play a lot more, we want to play with the other bands a lot more. I feel like that would have been a lot more natural, honestly, instead of sort of shoehorning it in right before Popipa went up on stage. But maybe that's just me. We got to see the owner again. Wow, right? And like I said, that it must feel very unreal to her that these girls who she literally she was the person judging their audition to play at her live house just a year ago, right? And now they're standing on the dream of all Japanese bands, Budokan, right? Which I'm gonna talk about a little bit more after this, but I mean it does. There's something funny about the entire situation, I'm just saying. And of course, they went with all the free bands getting an award as well. And, to my surprise, I actually agree with every single one of them, right? Roselia getting a Grand Prix, I don't think there's any doubt there. They are the most popular band. Consistent performance, in-universe, all of it makes sense, right? So giving them the award, especially since they did outright win the initial preliminary stage, it would be weird for them to not win the finale as well, right? And I talked about this a little bit more in previous episodes already. The format that they're going for, really, like, if you're a fan of Roselia, you're always going to vote for Roselia no matter what. If you're a fan of Pop Party, you're always going to vote for them. For Racist Villain, again, so as well. We're not really going to change just because of one performance in the finale, right? And then, Racist Villain getting the best performance, again, I feel like I absolutely agree with that as well. Even with the sort of being hamstringed by the animation, still, I was rocking out along with Racist Villain, and, you guys know me, Poppin' Party, best band, no more needs to be said, right? So, I actually absolutely agree with all three of those awards, so, good on them. Of course, the elephant in the room is that we did not get to see the other three bands. I mean, sure, we got like 3-5 seconds of each of them, and honestly, I don't like. For me, honestly, if you give me Poppin' Party, I would be completely satisfied. I don't even need the other bands if I'm being totally honest. But considering that this is a series that is mostly supported by the BanG Dreamers, by the BanG Dream fans, and considering that the fan base is pretty split on all the different bands, each person has their favorite and whatnot, I do feel like they could have done better to incorporate them within the finale episode, and in fact, throughout the season as a whole as well. Which I guess this makes a nice segue right into my closing thoughts on this season overall. So it's definitely Racist Suilan focused, right? So if you are a Racist Suilan fan, then you probably would like this season very much because it goes a little bit more in depth into the backgrounds of the Racist Suilan characters. We actually get some drama, although honestly, I feel like the drama impact wasn't quite there. I'm not quite sure if it's just because I'm not as big a fan of Racist Suilan as I am as Poppin' Party, or is it objectively not as impactful? Because in the second season, right, we went through, I guess in a way you could say it's reminiscent to each other, right? The bands suffering through some hardships and on the verge of breaking up. But to me, the way that it was portrayed in the second season, Poppin' Party's troubles, felt a lot more, I know, they just felt a lot more impactful. And if I were to try and step back and objectively look at it, I would say maybe it's because they put in a lot more content directly related with this thing and in direct sequence as well. So with Racist Villain, we're sort of like jumping back and forth. But even if you condense them all into like 1 or 2 different episodes, I feel like the content is still not quite enough to really allow us to gain some negative emotions, positive emotions from the episodes itself. which is, I think, an overall flaw of the, not just this season, but of the Bang Dream series, anime series overall, and that is there's just way too much they need to or want to put in there, and it's so too little time, right? So if you want to cram all the bands in there, then obviously they're not going to have any meaningful we're not going to have any meaningful story, and so on and so forth. But on the other hand, if you try to, I feel like in this case they sort of like split half and half, and then it ends out like nobody's really satisfied, right? I don't know. Maybe racist William fans are satisfied, but for me, I would be like, hey, Poppin' Party is really all only along for the ride. Was that even necessary in the first place? if that. So as I've been saying, even though this will never happen, I feel like the best method would really be for all the different bands to have their own little spin-off series and whatnot, and then that would satisfy everyone, right? So, yeah, that's just how I feel about it. But like I said, it's obviously not going to happen. And if they are going to, no, I feel like they should go for either kind of extreme, right? Meeting in the middle really isn't going to satisfy anyone. In the second season, I feel like the way that they went about it was quite clever, right? They, even though Poppin' Party were still the main characters, and they were still sort of like along for the ride for the first half of the season, they made sure that they interacted properly with all the different girls from the different bands, and they set up situations where they could allow the other bands to show off their music as well, which comparatively we got very little of in this season, right? Really not as many songs as there were in the second season. So this being a music anime, that is super, super important, right? So that is also, I guess, a negative I could say of this season. And then the other thing would be the girls band challenge overall, right? So it's an interesting concept, and especially trying to link with real life as well. Sort of like going back to the roots, the foundation of the franchise in the first place, which is the sort of linkage between 2D characters or 3D characters, I guess you could say nowadays, and reality, right? So I do like what they were doing with it. I do kind of, but the way that they set it up, I already voiced my concerns as to how this entire system is kind of unrealistic and stupid in the first place, right? Which I'm not gonna go back into again. And the second thing is, I feel like they kind of jumped the gun a little bit too much and expanded the scale of things too quickly, right? And this includes Racist Sweetland being able to host 1,000 person lives, even though they were just formed and they're still high schoolers. And then even for free high school bands to actually be able to play a live concert at Budokan, like where are you going to go forward from there, right? You've already, sure, I mean, you could still strive for eventually hosting a one man live at Budokan and whatnot, but I feel like this is just all accelerating way too fast in terms of their own progression here. Yeah, so then again, I don't know, because I wanted to make a point, which is, say if this is your dream, this is your goal and whatnot, then you should. Sometimes the journey is a lot more fun than actually reaching it in the first place. Sort of like what Remy was saying also. But sure, you can say that you want to continue to play on and whatnot. But what's going to be your next goal? What's your next step, right? And it's kind of hard to actually put it into a realistic perspective. Now that they've already done something of this scale. So, I don't know. I feel like maybe they could have dialed it back a little bit. Why did it have to be Budokan, right? But yeah, anyways. But that is pretty much for this season, I guess you could say. So, if, again, my final verdict is, if you're a Racist Willing fan, then you probably would like this season very much. If you're a fan of any of the other bands, I feel like second season might still be a bit better, both in terms of the actual screen time, and for me as well, I do feel like the story, the actual mainline story when we actually got to it, was also done a bit better as well. It had its flaws. I called it out as well. It's not, sometimes the episodes aren't really linked to each other, and they're just trying to throw them into some random situation to allow the other bands to show up. But still, even with all that being said, that is that. So, okay, damn, I've been talking for 20 minutes. This is way too long. So yeah, that's my thoughts for season 3, and going forward, obviously if there's a season 4, I will still watch that as well. Garupapiko is set to drop anytime soon. I kind of forgot the schedule. Garupapiko is the sort of the miniseries spin-off from the main franchise. You know, it features the same girls with the same personalities, except in even more unrealistic and, you know, balls to walls crazy kind of situation. So perhaps I will react to that, although there's not really that much to say for that. It's basically just a series for you to laugh your head off, right? And yeah, and if there are by any chance anime only people here, right, which I highly doubt, but maybe there still is, go check out the franchise, go check out the game, go check out the live performances. You know, you're really missing out on a huge portion of the franchise if you're just watching the anime. So, you know, some people don't want to play games, okay, fine, but do at least try and check out the lives as well. Bushiroad uploads to the Bandori official channel, a lot, they actually put out a lot of content there, including like clips from the live performances and whatnot, full songs. So yeah, do check that out, and hopefully more people would be able to join the franchise and join the fandom, right? Now, to me, you know, I always look at the BanG Dream series as basically fan service, but I still watch it because, you know, I want to support it, and I also want to try and promote it to other people as well, so that they can use it as a sort of gateway into the wider BanG Dream franchise. So there we go. That's it for this. If you guys, you know, if there are any new friends here, feel free to check out my other content as well. I do a lot of music series as well, actually. Well, I guess I can't really say a lot, but if it has an interesting premise and it doesn't look too shitty, I probably would take a look at it, since I do like music anime. Although, someone was asking me whether I was going to do the Argonovis, is that how you say it? The sort of boy band counterpart to the BanG Dream franchise. Unfortunately, no. I will go listen to some of their songs, though, to see if I like it or not. But I'm not that interested in, you know, anime that only features guys. Like, no hate or anything. It's just that sometimes it needs to be at least a little bit balanced with some other girls as well, or cute girls doing cute things, right? Even though I'm sure there's a big market for cute guys doing cute things, I'm not exactly a target market for that. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this, and hope I will see you guys again. If not, well, stay safe out there, and to the day we meet again. Bye-bye.